The rise of professional rugby in the nation's capital is here, but the road to glory has only just begun. This is the Road to Glory podcast, home for all Old Glory DC faithful, talking all things rugby in the DC region and beyond. Now your host, Ryan Yee, Gavin Hickey, Trinidad Bavio, Roland Pratt, and Farrah Douglas.
Welcome to the Road to Glory podcast, the official podcast of your Old Glory DC, talking all things rugby in the capital region and beyond. And again, got a jam-packed episode in this one. Got a lot to break down. Obviously, the nail-biter of a matchup between Old Glory DC and the NOLA Gold in round 6. Not the results that Old Glory DC fans want to see, but nonetheless, a lot of interesting tidbits and important tidbits that we will break down from that match. In this week's Rent Ditmar Bringing Home interview, glad to be joined by Tito Diaz Bonilla, who's going to talk about his time with Old Glory DC so far, talk a little bit about his Argentinian ties, his rugby journey, and of course, breaking down that match from the past weekend and his outlook on the season moving forward. We'll break down what is to come in round 7, a big one against the San Diego Legion in this upcoming week. And then, of course, what everyone is waiting for, our prediction segment that has taken an interesting turn after last week. My co-hosts here have told me that my one prediction that strayed away from them was a wrong one, and they may have been right, but you'll have to stick around to the end of the show to find that one out. But before we get into it, make sure you're giving us a follow at Old Glory DC. Follow the socials everywhere there, and stay up to date here. Like, subscribe to the podcast. It's been a lot of fun so far. 7 episodes in, guys. It's been crazy. Almost 2 months. It's been absolutely flying by. But before we get into it, I got to give a shout out to Gav and his boys here. A big one over the weekend. Navy taking down Army 34-26 in what is probably the best rivalry, or at least one of the best rivalry in sports.
Oh, that I think it's the best rivalry. I am obviously biased, but yeah, it's an incredible rivalry. I mean, it runs really deep in anything, in any sport, in anything that the two academies do against each other. It's a deep rivalry. But yeah, listen, it's been an amazing season for Navy. It's been phenomenal, 15-0, done with our regular season now, and then heading into playoffs, which is incredibly exciting. So it's just been a great journey to been on, and I'm incredibly proud of the team.
Yeah, absolutely been fun to watch this Navy team kind of move forward here. Undefeated season, that's pretty impressive, and they'll have a chance here in the quarterfinal to take on Davenport or Army. Once again, I know we were talking before we went live here, Gav, that you are looking forward and hoping that maybe you'll get another Army rematch to get them 3 times in a season and maybe come away victorious 3 times would be something to be said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've ever played them 3 times in a season. If we were to get them, they have a tough old game against Davenport now, but if we were to get them, they'll be coming down here with all guns blazing. So we're under no illusions, but the opportunity to play Army 3 times in a season and to hopefully beat Army, as we say, it's been a dream season, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. And again, that matchup will be on April 8th to decide who will play Navy on April 15th, 1 p.m. in Annapolis at the Brigade Sports Complex. So make sure you guys mark it all down on your calendar. It's going to be a super fun one to watch in the collegiate sports scene, because we've had that conversation throughout the podcast, the episodes that we've done about how important the collegiate scene is as a part of the growth of the MLR. So obviously that's a big part of that too. I got to give,
Ryan, just one thing there. I hate to rain on Gavin's parade, but in the women's collegiate game on Saturday, just before the curtain raiser, I got to give a little shine to the Army women. They defeated the Navy women. The reason I bring this up is because I was interviewing the 3 female captains of the Army team,
and your sound stopped.
And we had technical difficulties.
I was listening.
I believe Richard Merriman came and just tore the batteries out of the microphone when I wasn't looking. But anyway, I want to apologize to those lovely ladies. They were fantastic people, and best of luck to them in the future. Anyways, on you go, Ryan. Sorry about that.
No. That's definitely something not to be said. And I know that that not only because of that, you want to give Gav a little bit of a you can't have him all the glory here and all the celebrations with how well his Navy team.
You know what? I know I have to say I'm becoming more and more of a Navy man by the day. It's been some really good rugby to watch. I've watched the development of that whole team since Gavin's been there. I've seen the way the roster has turned over. I've seen the way the coaching staff has gone about their work. I've seen the way the whole campus has come around rugby, and the way that the stands have swelled with fans. I mean, it's a great testament to what Gavin's done in the area and to the team. So yeah, bloody hell, I'm all about Navy.
There you
Want to
go.
see them. Want to see them win a national championship now.
Your hoodie's on the way, Roly. Thank you.
I don't think I've seen a bigger
All about the
smile.
swag, bud.
I don't think I've seen a bigger smile on Gav's face there. But talking about, I guess, celebrations, obviously something to celebrate here with such a successful Navy season. But Roly, you were mentioning about the celebrations that may have gone a little bit too long here for this Irish team that obviously came away with the Grand Slam in the Six Nations. Yeah, a video going viral there about a late night for this Irish team, but also not to be unexpected either.
Well, it wasn't just a late night, Ryan. It was a late 3 nights, I believe. And it was going into day 4. And poor Gary Ringrose, I think, obviously a back. Yes, couldn't hack it. I know. So he said poor Gary couldn't come out to play today. So the entire Irish squad went to Gary Ringrose's mum and dad's house and had breakfast at their house, which I believe was of the liquid variety as well. So there is an excellent video of Peter O'Mahony going into the house literally sideways. I don't think he needed any more alcohol, but you know what? Day 4 it was, so on they went.
Yeah.
And it was pretty awesome to watch, I have to say.
I'd expect no bigger celebration from the Irish team, that's for sure. That's exactly how I would imagine it. One thing I want to kind of drop here before we shift on here to this NOLA Gold and Old Glory DC matchup. I know Farrah is a Crusaders fan when it comes to Super Rugby, and the Crusaders have been dominating Super Rugby competition over the past few years here. And I got to take my time to get this in here because the Waikato Chiefs, you can see the jersey behind me here, a big fan of them, and they are right now atop of the standings, undefeated like Gav's Navy team. I've been having a lot of fun watching them, and I wanted to make sure I got that in there with Farrah, knowing Farrah as a big Crusaders fan.
Heart you.
There we go. That now said, and I'm sure. I mean, I'll take it as it can, but I can only imagine that the season is a long one, just like the MLR season. They're going to lots of time for things to be turned around here. But nonetheless, let's get right into it, guys. Obviously, a fun time for rugby. Not so fun of a result here for Old Glory DC. A nail biter of a matchup, back and forth affair between the NOLA Gold and Old Glory DC. Old Glory DC, I believe, at half leading 12-10, then ultimately falling here at the end 20-17. Final drive, absolutely heartbreaking, getting close, but not close enough. A couple handling errors led to them just being short of being able to get one home, pull a win out of the bag there at home. But just guys, overall thoughts on that matchup. Roly, I know that you were there calling sideline. What did you really see and the performance against this NOLA Gold team that seems like they're pretty rolling right now?
Yeah, NOLA played very, very well, but I think they played very well to their game plan, which would have been different from what game plan they probably would have had at their own the gold mine, as they call it there. But I think that they made the game was quite scrappy in many ways. They tried to muck things up a little bit, play the defense, play the territory. Rodney Iona had a really good game of just keeping the ball in front of them. Everything was played in front of them on the day. They allowed the territory. They just wouldn't allow Old Glory to basically cross the line. I think that was their standout. They allowed them to kick their goals and take their territory, but at the end of the day, it was all about that NOLA defense there at the end, and basically all day long, if I'm to be perfectly honest, they played a very good, composed, away from home type of game, and I don't know if Old Glory are quite there in that part of the development. I think Old Glory played well. I think Old Glory played well enough to win, in fact. The stats would even bear that out. I didn't think that they would be as good in the line-out. They won practically all their line-out ball. They were fine in the scrums, as in there was neither no wins or losses. It was pretty much parity there. I was hoping maybe for a little bit more, if I'm to be honest, in that area. But all things being equal, Old Glory should have won that game, and we didn't. And the question that needs to be asked now is, why the hell did we not win that game? So I'll give that to somebody else to answer.
An easy one.
Of course.
I think there was a key moment in the game. That is when we scored the first try. They immediately scored, the NOLA team scored. So those are the moments that you need to be focused, consistent. I agree with you, Roland. I think that the result should be the same, but for Old Glory, it was a very tough game, back and forth. We had the possession, Old Glory had the possession. The last 10 minutes, the NOLA defense didn't commit one penalty. So that was the thing why they had the game. But I think the Old Glory DC is improving, but in those little things, like once you get to score a try, that the attacking game, I think, is not on point right now. It's not being really creative, like to be unpredictable for the other team. That I am eager to ask Tito, but I think those are the key moments that Old Glory needs to step up, because if you're not focused the entire game, then that is when the other team is going to punish you. But I think it's unfair for the result, because Old Glory did a little bit more to deserve the game.
I think you hit on one of the big areas that I think cost us that win was focus. There were a lot of moments where miscues happened, not necessarily around execution. Roly, you talked about this when we were offline, but around the focus in the moment, not paying attention while your hand's on the ball and turning away and it gets knocked on. Just like these very, very small things. As a coach, I call it like you have to be focused and present in the moment. And I think that we weren't always there, if that makes sense. And that cost us.
We spoke last week about the importance of this game, and I probably wasn't expecting this result with this performance. And this really, the point about this is, Old Glory should have won this game. And that begs up two questions. Well, one, that's good that we should have been in that position, or we were in the position. But two, well, hang on a sec. When do you start consistently converting these opportunities where you should have won games? And that's the hurdle you got to get over to go from a team that's stuttering, doing okay, to a team that's being pretty consistent and pretty accurate. So it's frustrating that the game was there for the win, and a miscued pass and communication between two players really is what cost the game. And I'm careful saying that, but there's no other way to say it. We were 5 meters out and we had the ball and we threw it behind somebody. And I'm not blaming one player or another. It's just that lack of accuracy, or you call it focus if you want there, Farrah, in that time, in that moment, cost them the game. And that's the hurdle that this team's got to get over, and soon.
Yeah. I mean, in Old Glory DC's favor, I should say, is that this Eastern Conference seems to be chewing each other up, because outside of the New England Free Jacks that are at the top of the conference in the East right now with that 4-1 record, obviously the big matchup against NOLA here, they jumped the Old Glory DC squad here and into that second spot. But there are three different teams here in the middle of the pack here with a 2-3 record, and Old Glory DC is at the top of that. So,
on that, Ryan, you're spot on with that. That's the key. So we talk about, I know we're analyzing our recent performance, but you talk about the season. It's the next three games are key. And I'll tell you why. Because in the next three games, Old Glory is away to San Diego. That's going to be tough. Away to Atlanta, and at home to New York, right? But in the same time, NOLA's away to Seattle. They're at home to Atlanta, and then at home to Chicago. And at the same time, Atlanta away to New York, home to Old Glory, and away to NOLA. So the next three games are going to define, out of that group of 3 or 4 teams, who's last man standing. And that's why I reckon, the next 3 games is going to sort the men out from the boys. And I believe Old Glory will be there at the end, I hope.
Yeah.
It's absolutely critical, I have to say, Gavin. I hadn't looked at the other two, but it makes perfect sense.
They're all playing each other. This is the moment.
And the problem here is when they all play each other, it's not who will go up. It's one team is going to go down, right? It's two will probably survive, but one may well be dead by the end of it all. And we still need to be alive. You're absolutely right. The problem with losing to NOLA, I know we got a bonus point, and that's fine. It's not enough. We're playing from home. We should have won that game. Shame on us. Okay. But now we've put ourselves in a little bit of a bind here, because we've got to go across the country and take on, arguably the best team in MLR right now. It's either them or Seattle. Flip a coin. And that's, I got to be honest, I don't think we're going to win that game. Okay.
But,
if I'm to be perfectly honest, I don't think we're going to win that game.
Yeah.
And then we've got 2 games against inter-conference opponents that are become hypercritical. Then we're going to start putting ourselves into a bigger and bigger and bigger bind every week. We need to start making a few W's here where we're not expecting it.
You're right with that. The only thing is, this is where I think there's, after looking at this stuff, there's just a little chink of light still in terms of time. Is even though Glory's at San Diego this weekend, NOLA plays Seattle, and also the Free Jacks are away to Utah, right? So we're not the only one with tough games,
Oh no, there's all tough games, but I'm saying we got to start winning a game. Correct. That we're the underdog in.
Yeah, we
have never won a game as the underdog. We always win where we're like the favorite or close to there. But there's history tells us that we're not going to go to San Diego and win, because we don't win those games. Okay. So now I've got to ask the question is, when do we beat history? When do we just knock history on its head and say, history has no bearing on this? Let's just go in and give something your best shot and come away with the victory for one time, prove everybody wrong. Why not this Saturday? That's why I'm saying we're building to something. I think that every week we've gotten better, except for maybe the New York game. I think that we've grown. I think we played better in this game than we did against Toronto, for instance, even though the result was different. We did better things in this game in many ways, but doesn't matter. We need points.
I tell you what's going to happen over the next 3 games. Watch out for 4-try bonus points, losing bonus points. And I think bonus points are going to become a big factor.
Make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something to keep a real close eye on in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and just to mention about how key those bonus points are going to be, and if our viewers and listeners need a refresher, is that the top 3 teams in each conference will be making the playoffs right now. Right now, Old Glory DC sits in that 3rd spot, but again, it's been those bonus points that have helped them push and elevate them above Rugby Atlanta, above the New York Ironworkers, and they're going to have to keep that up if they're going to try to maintain and hold that position. But yeah, you guys make a great point there that these next few weeks here is going to be definitely an interesting one in terms of how it will have long-lasting effects on how this season plays out for sure. But you did mention it though. We do have a San Diego Legion matchup coming up here in round 7, which is going to be an interesting one. Roly, you mentioned, can we beat history this week? I know there's been a stigma around this team over the course of especially the last couple of seasons where it's hard to beat that hump. We're getting closer to it. It seems like we're right at that precipice where we just need something done here, and it's whether or not they can make a stand. We're going to break that down and give you those thoughts on whether or not, or what the Old Glory DC team needs to do in order to come away with the victory here. But first, before that, we're going to have a great interview here with Tito Diaz Bonilla, who's joined the show for the first time, where he'll discuss his thoughts on the season so far, his time with Old Glory DC a third way through, how he's adjusting, and of course his rugby journey as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that NOLA game too. But that'll be coming after a short break here. But first, Old Glory DC is excited to welcome back our friends at the Supply Room, your business-to-business office supply vendor located in the Mid-Atlantic. Visit thesupplyroom.com to learn how to create a smarter office. The Road to Glory podcast will be right back.
Experience how sous vide has reimagined the way we eat from the company trusted by the most renowned chefs in the world. Visit cuisinesolutions.com or your local retailer to get a taste.
It takes leadership. It takes determination. It takes grit. On the pitch and off. At ECS, we're tackling our nation's biggest challenges. From cybersecurity and artificial intelligence to digital transformation and IT operations, we build powerful solutions for a complex world. Meet the challenge. Make a difference.
Are you looking for an exciting and unforgettable live sporting event? Look no further than Old Glory DC, your hometown Major League Rugby franchise. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see professional rugby up close. With a mix of strength, skill, and strategy, rugby is a sport like no other. Whether you're coming alone, with friends, or looking for unique family entertainment, Old Glory DC has something for everyone. Be a part of this unique experience. Get your tickets now at oldglorydc.com. That's oldglorydc.com.
Knowledge. It's where innovation begins. It's what leads us to discovery and motivates us to succeed. It's why we ask the tough questions and what leads us to the answers. At Leidos, we're standing behind those working to improve the world's health, safety, and efficiency. Leidos.
Pro rugby in the nation's capital is here. Are you on board the road to glory? Back to upping the flags with your hosts Ryan Yee, Gavin Hickey, Trinidad Bavio, Roland Pratt, and Farrah Douglas.
Welcome back to the Road to Glory podcast, and it is time for our Bring It Home interview segment sponsored by Rent Ditmar, because where you live matters. And this is one that we've been waiting for a long time on this show to bring one of the newest members of the Old Glory DC onto the podcast, and that is Tito Diaz Bonilla, fly half for Old Glory DC. Tito, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us this week.
Hi, everyone. No, it's a big pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Very much appreciated. And I guess we'll start off with an easy question here, Tito. We'll get you warmed up a little bit here. Just your overall thoughts on the season so far, and how you've been enjoying your time with Old Glory DC and your first season in the MLR.
Well, I really enjoy playing here in the USA. For me, it's like a big pleasure to be in the Old Glory squad. Yeah, I'm really happy here. We have a really good team, a really good group that we enjoy being together, spend some time. Not always it's all around rugby. I think outside the field is important to have some connection, and that's one of the good things that I found here in the team, that there's a really good vibe. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here in Old Glory.
Tito, I'm so happy to have you here. And first of all, before we start talking about the team, this past weekend's matches and everything from Old Glory, I have to ask how helpful it is to have Argentinian teammates in the Old Glory squad.
Yeah, it's really good to have some Argentinians on the team. There's some of the guys that I know them since a long time ago. A few of the guys we played in the same club in Argentina. You know Trini, but I don't know if everyone's know. So for me, nothing. It's incredible to have some of those guys that I'm really close friends, and now nothing. Just having this new experience with them is great for me. And yeah, I met some of the other Argentinians here. They are really good guys. Of course, it's like I always say, like it's important to have some Argentinians in the team, but it's not all about us. It's about the big picture. It's all about the entire group. But I think as an Argentinians, we try to keep each other like connected. We do some barbecues and other things just to be like, to feel we are part of the team, and we are like a group that is really strong together, and not just the Argentinians or the Fijians. We are like a lot of players around of the world. So what we need is a pure connection, and is nothing. It's important to work on that too. So yeah, I'm really happy to have the guys here, but like it's around the whole team. It's not about only us, and yeah, it's nice to share time with other guys too.
Well, shifting to this past weekend's match with NOLA, it was a physical game with a lot of back and forth action. How do you mentally prepare for matches like this and then stay focused throughout the game while all of that craziness is going on?
Yeah, during the last week, we talked a lot about how physical was NOLA, how physical they played. And yeah, we prepared that. We tried to have that mindset that we need to be physical with those teams. But well, I think we have moments that we did really good. We've been really physical, and other moments that not too much. I think we need to find that consistency during the 18 minutes. And yeah, we need to work a little bit more on those things. I think we did really good things during the game, but yeah, it's about little details that can make you lose the game. So yeah, we need to be connected for 18 minutes, and yeah, this kind of games is gonna be. You need to fight until the last minute. So yeah, I think few of moments that we made some mistakes, and yeah, it cost us the game.
Tito, talking about the consistency there that you're searching for, and some really good things that you did in the last game, what areas of the attack would you say are going well so far that you're happy with, and what are the areas that need continued improvements and work-ons?
If I look back to the first game and I look the last game with NOLA, I think we got a lot of improvement in terms of attack and even in defense. Just trying to talk about our attack. I think we're getting better in how we move the ball around the field. We started being really like with not much options, just playing with the forwards, and we didn't have many options with the backs. And now I think we are able to play to the edge and then come back with the forwards, just trying to run some lines, and then again with the backs. I think, like I said before, there was few moments that we were really clinical and others not much. So that one we need to find that consistency during the whole game. But I think we showed some improvement, and we need to be excited about that because we are growing as a team, and that's the important thing. I think if we continue doing these things, the win's gonna come, and I truly believe that we have a good team to start winning. But yeah, we need to be really clinical during the whole game, and that's gonna make the difference.
Tito, so switching from talking about Old Glory to focusing a little bit more on your experiences, you're a bit of a rugby journeyman that has played in leagues across the world, from Super Rugby, Top 14, English Premiership, URC. How do those experiences compare to the MLR, and what do you see is one of the biggest differences?
Well, honestly, I think this tournament is really, really good. Like, there's really good players here. I think it's getting better and better through the game and through the tournament. Maybe all of the tournaments are different. The Super Rugby is different from the Top 14 and even for the England Premiership. But what I found here is that it's a really physical rugby. All the teams are really physical. They play really straight. It's more like South African rugby. Maybe it's a bit slower than others tournament like the Super Rugby, but it's like really physical. So yeah, I think that's the main difference between those tournaments.
Awesome. So let's talk about kicking. So fly half, that's a really important skill and something I think we as a group have been really excited watching that skill kind of unfold itself. And it's a big part of your skill set, and it's very much been on full display over the past 2 matches from both a place kicking and out of hand kicking standpoint. What advice might you have to listeners who may want to improve their kicking game?
Sorry, can you ask me again?
What advice do you have for our fans watching this who want to improve their kicking?
You mean in general, like as a team, as a collective, or individually?
Both. You gave me the option.
No, I think today, like this is like the new rugby. I think the team that kick most and kick well than the opposite, just have more chances to win. So yeah, I'm a guy that try to play what I have in front, but sometimes the team needs to use the kicks, and if you use it right, you can have big rewards. It's like not always you're gonna have the rewards, because the other day I did some kicks that wasn't the best, but yeah, it's really important to use it well, and even how the team pressure those kicks is even more important than the accuracy of the kick. But yeah, we're trying to mix our attack with some of those kicks, just to give or to transfer the pressure to the opposition, or just to find some grass. So yeah, we're trying to mix those kicks. But talking about the individually, I think it's all about the practice. It's how much time you spend kicking. Fly half need to practice a lot of kicking, because we have not only to the post, we have drop kicks, we have line out kicks, kicks during the game. So yeah, I spent a lot of time just doing my kicking sessions. But yeah, I think that's the key. Just practice. Try to build like different parts of the game, and try to put it in the training, just to do similar things that you want to do during the game. But yeah, if I need to give an advice to somebody, it's just go and kick and do many of kicks that you can do, and that's gonna make you a better kicker. It's all about practicing and hard work.
Oh, definitely that hard work definitely looked like it has paid off for you, because I mean, we were talking about it last episode about how spot on your ball out of hand kicks were in the match before against the Arrows there, and then of course we got to see your place kicking skills this past match against NOLA, pretty instrumental in keeping that game pretty tight there this past weekend. So it's been a lot of fun watching that kind of side of your game there throughout the beginning of the season. I'll finish off with this question here, Tito. Obviously we're now a third way through the season, and there's still another 2/3 to go. And I know that the MLR season can be a grueling one, and it's definitely a marathon, not a race here. But for you, just kind of your mindset as you now, still inch your way through this season moving forward. Obviously, like you mentioned, you want to make big improvements here for Old Glory DC. You think that this team can win. Maybe not the place that you guys thought you would be here in the standings, a third way through, but in order to get back on the right track here, what's kind of your mindset moving forward, and what you think the Old Glory DC team needs to do to get back on the right track moving forward?
Honestly, I think we are in the right way. We need to keep doing what we're doing. I think we can be better in details, in that consistency during the whole games. But for me, it's more about mindset, and I think we are working really hard since the preseason. We are doing a lot of effort. I think the win's gonna come. We need to be patient. We need to keep there. It's not time to hesitate. It's just we need to keep trusting each other, believing that we can be a big team here in the league. Actually, I think we are getting much better. We lost against NOLA, but I think we could win it 100%. I think we played better than them, even in the against Free Shacks. We had the opportunities. The good thing is that we are creating good opportunities, and now it's time to start like taking them. But it's about just keep believing in us, keep trusting in each other, and keep working hard. I think that's gonna pay us in the next few games, and hopefully we're gonna in few games we're gonna talk about All Glory, how good we are playing and how well we're going.
Yeah, and I'm sure fans are loving to hear that there is a whole bunch of optimism for people to look forward moving forward. And speaking of the fans, last thing before you go here, I guess this is like your first time being able to kind of get on the pedestal here and send a message to Old Glory DC fans. So with your experience here so far in the first third way through the season, any message you have for the Old Glory DC faithful?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for all the support. For every team, the supporters us are a really important part of what we do. So thank you very much for all the support. And yes, let's believe that we can achieve a really good tournament together. I truly think that we feel the support from the outside, and now that when we play in Segra, we really felt that noise from the outside, and it's really important for us. So thank you very much, and hopefully next few games we have the rewards and everyone can enjoy with us the wins.
That's awesome. No, I'm sure all the fans will appreciate to hear that. But Tito, been fantastic talking with you. We've been super excited and had a lot of fun so far watching you this season. And we hope that you're able to hop on again the show soon and chat with us some more.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and well, see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Tito. And that was obviously Tito Diaz Bonilla, fly half for Old Glory DC, one of the newest members here on the Rent Ditmar Bring It Home interview. Let Rent Ditmar be part of your next home search journey. Visit them at rentditmar.com, because where you live matters. The Road to Glory podcast. We'll be right back.
It takes leadership. It takes determination. It takes grit. On the pitch and off. At ECS, we're tackling our nation's biggest challenges. From cybersecurity and artificial intelligence to digital transformation and IT operations, we build powerful solutions for a complex world. Meet the challenge. Make a difference.
At MedStar Health, we're doing everything we can to prepare for what if. Like, what if you need care right now? We have the region's largest network of urgent care centers. Or what if you think you're out of options? Patients continue to turn to us after losing hope elsewhere. Or what if you can't get to care? Our mobile care units bring care to our communities, because treating people means being prepared to treat them when what if happens. MedStar Health. It's how we treat people.
Shift into Easy Drive at Sheehy and discover an easier way to find your next vehicle. Sheehy Easy Drive works harder to get you a better value when you sell or trade in, find you more options within your area, and offers you one easy price. Buy in store or online, so you can focus more on where you need to go, not how you'll get there. For an easy answer to your car needs, shift into Easy Drive at Sheehy.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
Pro Rugby in the nation's capital is here. Are you on board the road to glory? Back to upping the flags with your hosts Ryan Yee, Gavin Hickey, Trinidad Bavio, Roland Pratt, and Farrah Douglas.
Welcome back to the Road to Glory podcast. We've spent this episode breaking down the weekend that was, had a great conversation with Tito Diaz Bonilla about his time so far with Old Glory DC and what his thoughts were about the 2023 MLR campaign. But now it's time to look ahead, guys. And we alluded it at the start of the show here in that first segment about the tough matchup that Old Glory DC has in round 7. They will be heading out west to take on what is arguably one of the best teams in Major League Rugby competition, that is the San Diego Legion. So I'll throw it out to you guys, just open-ended question here. Obviously, it's a big task at hand. What does Old Glory DC need to do here to come away with the victory in San Diego?
Roly?
It's a tough one.
Well, I know in the last segment, I wanted to, you know what? It's going to be very difficult. Let's just continue on from the tangent that I was on. It's going to be very, very difficult. And what I was saying was that under normal circumstances, you can't. I don't think that Old Glory would win this game. And the question is, what do we have to do to win it? We've got to increase. We've got to do even better than where we've been playing already. So we have been on an upward tangent, and we need to continue that. Maybe a little bit of, bonding on the road as well, going away. We've played some really great games away from home. I remember the Utah game a couple of years ago comes to mind, and we lost in a heartbreaking fashion right at the very end, but it was like a 30 to 30 something game. We just need that little bit of luck possibly on the road. Everybody just needs to step up, and we need our stars. I need Kurt Baker back. I need one of my Polynesian wingers who both are injured. Hopefully I can get someone back there that has a little bit, of oomph and the street smarts as well. You need that kind of smarts when you're on the road against a really professional outfit like San Diego. We've got a lot of wily veterans there. This is not going to be a game for the rookies. You need the veterans here to get you over the line, and everybody needs to step up.
You mentioned injuries there, Roly, and we're seeing it across the board. I mean, every team is injured, so I don't like talking about specific teams' injuries, but you did mention the back three. There's 3 players in the back 3 injured, as you mentioned. Stan South, unfortunately, news came out about him this week that he's probably done for the season. So word is they'll be getting in a new lock, and I think that signing is key as they try to push with this package. They try to push it over the line for the next rest of the season. So this game this week, tough one, real tough one against a very good San Diego team. Just went through their squad there. I mean, they're pretty loaded. But if Old Glory can keep going, keep building, as Tito says, consistently pay attention to the details, get over that little lasting piece that they need to get over as a squad, then who knows? It's gonna be a tough one.
I think that Tito said something really interesting that we guys talked about it. That is, you don't want to be predictable in rugby. And in the attacking game, Old Glory is being pretty predictable, and that's what Tito said. Maybe we are going all the time with the forwards, and when it comes to the backs, you don't have that creative game that maybe in a San Diego Legion game you have to have. The focus, the concentration. I know the team has been improving, but I don't think that it's enough for the game that you have against San Diego, because of course they are one step ahead. But I heard Tito very confident that the team can do better, and I know it will. You mentioned the injuries. The team maybe is not in its 100%, But I think they will have to work on that, not only in this game, but all the games that are coming, because that is not going to be helpful for the Old Glory squad.
It's the coach's prerogative. So we're not questioning the coach's prerogative and who he's selecting. But do you guys feel that the correct team based on injuries and everything else is being selected every week in the right combinations?
That if we...
Well, in the first couple of weeks, first few weeks, I always give the coaches that leeway to chop and change as is needed. Not as is needed, but just to figure out what the heck they have. Yeah. I feel like it's settled now, Gavin. Like there's a lot more settling in the last 2 weeks. I do think the only question I had was why Chicken maybe wasn't starting at one point in time there. I know that, but maybe I could argue that he was being utility sub for the entire back line is why I think it was Sheehy may have gotten the start ahead of him there. But it got settled. It's kind of, it is what it is right now. There's not many places to go, you know, so our squad's not that huge. And the one question is the centers maybe, and you know, Threaten's coming off the bench. It's probably a perfect spot for him in the position of his career where he is right now. I would love Threaten to stay coming in off the bench, but I feel like we might need him on the field more. That's I worry that we don't have a big enough center sometimes on the field, and we can get bullied in that area. But that's, you know, I can't think of any other places right now that are, you know.
When he's fit, would you put Junior back to center or would you keep him on the wing?
Keep him on the wing.
Mm.
I don't. No, I wouldn't put him anywhere else. Junior hasn't played enough center. He's a rugby league player. And this is my rationale. I think Junior, exceptional wing in the MLR. I think he's just another center, if that makes sense. Like he's average center. He's a very good wing. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely interesting there. Now, I guess obviously it's a big, tall task at hand here against the San Diego Legion. So for you guys, if Old Glory DC even just comes away with a formidable performance here, maybe it doesn't come away with the win, but maybe stays competitive, comes away with the bonus point, but shows improvements from last week's, would you call that a victory there moving forward, at least season-wise and perspective-wise for Old Glory DC here?
Same things apply to do every week. The non-negotiable set piece has got to be your own set piece has got to be very accurate. You've got to try to win the kicking game. I sound like a broken record. But I think Old Glory really needs to focus on those areas and try to get a foothold in the game that way. If you don't have those, you've got nothing. Yeah. And so that's the concern. So if Old Glory can confront up, you know, put San Diego into a bit of pressure scrum time, make sure they win their lineouts as they have been doing a good job of, continue that driving maul, you know, good things can happen from that. So I think they're the key areas for continued success for Old Glory.
No, a little bit of being just overlooked perhaps as well. You know, we might just get sneaky lucky as well. You know, San Diego have played a few high profile games. They've done another trip of their own, coming back thinking, oh, a little home cooking, here we go. I'm literally just looking at, we only would, if we can play a really good game and get that little bit of luck is what I'm saying basically, is like anything can happen. There is a reason to play this game. But I think it's you know, I'm looking at maybe a 15 to 20% chance of us actually winning this game, to be honest with you.
Let's not go crazy. They have lost before, albeit at Houston, but they have lost. And
one loss.
That'd be
yeah.
Go ahead, Farrah.
We have to play smarter. Like there are all the little things that we've talking about around like focus, and I'm 100% with you. Like set pieces have, like, they've got to be better. Period. The kicking game, we need the kicking game that we had like 2 games ago with super successful set piece. And we do better when we play with speed, because I think that sets us up to utilize the size of our forwards. Our forwards aren't super big, but they're mobile. And when we're playing, trying to match some of these bigger teams with physicality, like that doesn't play to our strengths. But when we start to move the ball and we start, you know, using those backdoor options, getting out, like using the forward to tie up that midfield and then moving it behind them, we start to open things up and we're able to play fast. I feel like part of the struggle this past weekend was we slowed our own game down. So I think that we have to play fast, we have to play smart, we have to understand what our strengths are and how to utilize those to create opportunities.
Sure. And I think again, when you face a team, I guess like San Diego, that margin of error just it diminishes even more, right? You don't have that flexibility to make those mistakes like time or what you were talking about earlier, that focus needs to be there that much more in matches like this if you're going to even squeak away win, right? That luck has to be created, Roly, almost, where you're putting yourself in that best position to be successful so that when that luck does arrive, you're at least in a position to win and take advantage of those situations. So we'll see whether or not they can do that against San Diego, and it'll be definitely everything needs to play in their favor.
One last thing, Ryan, is like you only need to get one of these victories before you change the narrative.
True.
That's a really important thing to have to say. Everybody needs that first victory, that one you can stick on the mantelpiece and say, that was the game right there where we changed our fortunes. We haven't been there. We haven't had that game yet.
Yeah.
Why don't we make it this week?
Yeah, honestly. And I was just going to say, like, talk about a morale booster. If you're able to come away from a West Coast trip, beat a team that everyone's talking about as being one of the best in Major League Rugby, it would be something that, like you're saying, Roly, could definitely turn around this season. So, yeah, we'll tell you where our mind's at. I feel like, some of our opinions about this matchup coming up, but we do got a couple other matches as well that Gav mentioned earlier in the show are going to have some pretty big implications in terms of where Old Glory DC is going to seed here. So we're going to break that all down and, of course, tell you those dumb host standings here when it comes to our prediction 7. You'll find out why I think they're dumb coming up after this break. But first, Mighty Meals is the official meal prep partner of Old Glory DC. These chef-prepared healthy meals can be delivered fresh to you 4 times a week. Order your next meal now at mightymeals.com. The Road to Glory podcast will be right back.
Are you looking for an exciting and unforgettable live sporting event? Look no further than Old Glory DC, your hometown Major League Rugby franchise. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see professional rugby up close. With a mix of strength, skill, and strategy, rugby is a sport like no other. Whether you're coming alone, with friends, or looking for unique family entertainment, Old Glory DC has something for everyone. Be a part of this unique experience. Get your tickets now at oldglorydc.com. That's oldglorydc.com.
Knowledge. It's where innovation begins. It's what leads us to discovery and motivates us to succeed. It's why we ask the tough questions and what leads us to the answers. At Leidos, we're standing behind those working to improve the world's health, safety, and efficiency. Leidos.
Pro Rugby in the nation's capital is here. Are you on board the road to glory? Back to upping the flags with your hosts Ryan Yee, Gavin Hickey, Trinidad Bavio, Roland Pratt, and Farrah Douglas.
Welcome back to the Road to Glory podcast, and it is the segment that you all have been waiting for, our prediction segment. It has easily become my least favorite segment in this show very, very quickly, but we'll explain why here in just a second. It's been a rough couple of weeks for me here when it comes to picking games around the MLR. Not so rough for some of our other hosts here. I'll break down the standings here for you guys. About 7 weeks, or heading in, I should say, into the 7th week of the MLR season. At the top right now, at least based on winning percentage, Trini, you're still rolling here. You're winning with an 8-4 record, going 2-1 last week. The only miss pick there was obviously picking Old Glory DC over NOLA, which we all picked last week. Actually, everyone had the same picks last week except for my bold Toronto Arrows pick over Utah, which we were saying at the break that they were winning at half. But yeah, I think in hindsight, that probably wasn't the smartest way to go. I think
if only rugby was a 40-minute game.
If only. Well, it technically was, though, in the Chicago match versus Seattle. It was only a 40-minute matchup, but clearly not in the match that I needed it to be, for sure. But nonetheless, Trini, you're at the top here with the winning percentage of 8-4. Coming up tied in second place, 10-8 each. Roly and Farrah, you also went 2-1 last week as well. Gavin, you took advantage. You said it last week that thank you for the extra win there. You are now sitting at 8-10. You are no longer in last place, and I'm sitting at the bottom there, 7-11, picking the Toronto Arrows over the Utah Warriors. So
Open all day.
yeah. Well, with that being said, it has been the leader that has been going first. And I have been saving myself for last, being at the bottom, but you guys have been giving me a hard time here. Why not? Why don't we switch things up here? And maybe that will help me get back in the win column. So I'll go first here as we break down these matchups. We're going through 3 matchups this week. NOLA taking on the Seattle Seawolves at home. We've got the New York Ironworkers taking on Rugby Atlanta in New York. And then, of course, we'll break down the San Diego versus Old Glory matchup out on the West Coast. We'll start off with the Seattle matchup here. It should be an interesting one. This NOLA Gold team is hot. But again, this Seattle Seawolves team is absolutely electric. Outstanding defense. That seawall is absolutely rolling right now. They only needed a half to absolutely put Chicago away. So I'm going to go Seattle Seawolves in this one. Trini, I'll throw it to you since you are the leader here in this competition so far.
I don't know if it works for you as I am first, but I'm going with Seattle also. So we're in the same team.
There you go. Roly, what about you?
Yeah, they've been kind to me all year. I'm definitely on the Seattle bandwagon as of right now. I'll go with them.
All right, and Farrah?
Seattle.
Seattle, easy there. What about you, Gav? I think
They're undefeated. Huh?
You should mix it up here, I think.
So you can try and catch up with me. No, you're good, thanks. They're undefeated. They're on the road. They've had a few road wins already this year. They are setting things alight right now. I'm going to stick with everybody else and go with Seattle.
Absolutely. All right. So we're all off the board here. Or maybe we'll go 2 weeks in a row where we all have the same exact picks. That's going to be an interesting one. All right. With this next matchup, the New York Ironworkers taking on Rugby Atlanta at 3:00 on Sunday. Yeah, should be another interesting one. Again, the New York Ironworkers definitely have not looked as good as a lot of people expected them to look heading into this year. Rugby Atlanta not necessarily impressive either, but I think this will be a close matchup. But nonetheless, I'll take the pedigree of what New York has shown in the past. So I'll go the New York Ironworkers over Rugby Atlanta in this one. Trini?
I agree both that it's going to be a tough match, a close one, but the Ironworkers are gonna win.
All right, Roly, what do you got here?
If there was a spread, I'd take Atlanta probably. I think it's going to be close. Do I have the cojones, as they say? Damn it, guys! I'm taking Atlanta.
Oh, there we go. I love it. I absolutely
God.
love it. Keeping things interesting. You can be
taking Atlanta.
You can be this.
That's
week,
it. Yeah. I'll be the idiot. No, I actually think this is not a bad spot. There is a little bit of Atlanta lost to San Diego, got sullied at home there. Not a great performance. I feel like, New York's not quite what they were. I think Atlanta, they're not afraid of New York. I can tell you that for sure. They could go up there and beat them. For
sure. All right, Farrah?
Ironworkers, New York.
New York Ironworkers. All right, and Gav?
Yeah, Rody, I think you're right. They could beat them. I definitely think they could beat them, but I don't think they will. New York.
That's fair.
I swear, you're a tease.
I don't mind being on an
every
island,
single
folks.
week,
I don't mind being
All
on an
right.
island on this
No,
one.
I wouldn't be surprised if you came away with that one. That's going to be a tough old game, but home team to win it.
That should be an interesting one. I was going to say, if you guys had gone all the same picks again this week, I would have called that there's some sort of conspiracy going on, that you were just going to keep all the same picks. So I wouldn't be able to catch up with you guys. But nonetheless,
that's actually a great idea. I like it.
Yeah,
I was just waiting to zag when all you guys were zigging.
All right, Roly debunking that myth. All right, let's get to the matchup that everyone, or at least all of our viewers and listeners, are waiting to hear our picks for. Obviously, San Diego taking on Old Glory DC out on the West Coast in San Diego. That will be on Sunday, 4:00 Eastern time, airing on Masson, also on the Rugby Network. It's going to be a tough matchup, and I think this might be the very first week that I won't be siding with Old Glory DC. San Diego, just too tough of a competition coming off of a bye week. They've looked really, really good. And Roly mentioned it earlier in the show. Flip a coin between the Seattle Seawolves and the San Diego Legion right now, because those two teams look like to be in top form. It's going to be a tough one to try to beat this team. I'm going to go Legion in this one.
I'm so sad to say this, but San Diego is maybe in its great moments. And I don't know if Old Glory now can beat them. So it's going to be a very difficult match for us. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going with San Diego.
All right, Roly, you're the answer that everyone's waiting for.
No,
this one.
I hope to God they stuff my words right down my throat. I'm taking San Diego in this game. I am just downtrodden here. I cannot believe it, but I feel like this could be the game. I really want them to fade me right now. So I think they need to go out and say, to hell with that what Roly thinks. We're just gonna win anyway. So no, I think that San Diego is very strong. We're not quite there yet. I think they'll win the game. I want Old Glory to win desperately though.
All right, Farrah.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I'm gonna go with San Diego. I think the team we are right now, no, but who we are going to become, yes. So San Diego's my pick for this weekend.
All right, and then yeah, finish up us here.
2 quotes from Tito from our chat with him earlier. Wins are going to come, and we have to keep working hard. I'm going to go against all of you. I'm going to say this is the one on the road. Old Glory are going to go to San Diego, and they're going to pull off a shock win, and it's going to kickstart the rest of their season. You heard it here first.
Oh
my Christ.
Gavin Hickey on the road to glory.
Hickey, I hope you are right, boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
I do. I want to be wrong. I'm okay if that's one match I'm wrong.
I absolutely love
I will
it. I mean,
concede some of my percentage for that.
and we talked about it. I mean, Roly, you said it. It just takes one win to turn around a season, and this has
literally
all of the characteristics of being that kind of marquee milestone win to really turn things around. Not just from a season perspective, but from a club franchise perspective of really interjecting a feeling of winning culture, and this could be the game that does it. So I think we all agree. We hope that maybe not from a competition standing perspective, but at least from as all of us being Old Glory DC supporters, hoping that they can come with a win and head back from the West Coast with a W in that win column should be a big one. And you mentioned it too.
Also, we'll give Hickey double points if he wins.
Yes, I'll take that.
Honestly, we might have to consider that with the Coronas are going that way, and it being the Old Glory DC matchup. Why not? But that is to be determined. It all depends. And only if I get 2 wins ahead, then I'll give it to him. We'll see if that works. But nonetheless, yes, that game is on Sunday, 4:00 Eastern time, airing on MASN, the Rugby Network as well. Make sure you all guys tune in. Snapdragon Stadium is a fun one to watch games on television as well. You won't want to miss it. It'll definitely not be as slick as it was this past match against NOLA. But yeah, should be an exciting one. Again, thank you to Tito Diaz Bonilla for joining the show and talking with us and breaking down his thoughts on it. And should be an interesting one to come. And like Gav mentioned, these next few weeks are going to be big time in terms of figuring out where Old Glory DC will fit across these Eastern Conference competition, because it is a tight one so far. And Old Glory DC, by all means, is not anywhere far from turning things around here and being at the top of that Eastern Conference. We'll see if they can start that here against San Diego. So for Roly, for Farrah, for Trini, for Gav, this is the Road to Glory podcast, and we'll be back next week with another show.
You've been listening to the Road to Glory podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything Old Glory DC and beyond. From expert team analysis to exclusive interviews and more, you'll always find it right here. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Old Glory DC. Catch you next time on the Road to Glory podcast.